We begin this morning with someone who was right at the president's side last night, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, who joins us from New York. I imagine you enjoyed the fight last night.
It was a good fight. Those are some amazing athletes and very tough, yes.
Well, you got a fight ahead of you here in Washington, too, and that's what I want to ask you about in terms of what you think the strategy is to counter what could be some damaging detail in these published testimonies we expect to be public this week.
Well, the people deserve to know the facts, the truth, and the accountability. Here we are that the Speaker of the House finally admitted, yes, she was wrong. There is no due process. What we voted on Thursday is not due process. There's no transparency. Think about what's happening. We had that vote on Thursday. 4 days later, the Democrats are right back at it in the basement of the Capitol, having 4 more depositions secret that the public can't see. But now with that vote, they even have more control. They now made the Intel Committee the impeachment committee. They now control even further about which Republicans can even ask questions. They made Adam Schiff not only a fact witness, but he's the judge, the jury, and the prosecutor. That is unheard of. And if you take what Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, said just last March, that impeachment is so divisive to this nation, unless it is more compelling and overwhelming and bipartisan, we should not go forward. Yet Thursday's vote, the only bipartisan vote, was not to move forward, was no. Never in our history have we ever moved through with such a partisan impeachment movement. This is unheard of, and what they're trying to do. Remember, what is today? November 3rd. We are exactly 1 year away from Americans going to the polls to vote for the president. They're trying to change the outcome of 2016 and influence the next one.
Well, Republicans will be able to ask questions of witnesses and call their own. Who is it in the public hearings that Republicans want to hear from?
Well, Margaret, that's not true. If you read what the resolution says, now Adam Schiff controls the time, and now they've written it.
Democrats are in the majority. That is the way being in the majority works. Isn't that what you would do?
No, that is not what I would do. That is not what we did when we moved for impeachment with Clinton. That's not what Democrats did when they moved with impeachment for Nixon. They actually had witnesses. But what Adam Schiff now has the power to do is tell Devin Nunes, the ranking member, that he cannot have any other member on that committee have time to ask questions. In every committee today, it doesn't matter what the issue is, you can yield your time to another individual, but not now. They want total control. Will the public be able to see what's inside these 4 new secret depositions in the basement? No. 75%, 3/4 of the entire Congress cannot be included.
So who is it?
Openness?
Who is it that you want to see? That was the question I asked.
Well, I think the very first person we should bring Adam Schiff and his staff. He is the only individual in America
for a public hearing
who knows.
You want to question the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee?
Yes, I would, because he is the only person who knows who this whistleblower is. He refers to himself as a Ken Starr. Ken Starr testified. How many times did he meet with the whistleblower? What did he talk to the whistleblower about? Because when the whistleblower even went to the Inspector General, he never mentioned that he went with Adam Schiff. Remember what we're talking about today, Margaret, the removal of the President of the United States. This should not be taken lightly. We should have all the facts. The public deserves the facts, not something that's leaked. We're 3 weeks since the very first hearing inside there, the deposition. We still do not have the transcripts. You have members of Congress who just voted to justify what has already happened without ever reading one word of what's gone on. That is what is wrong. We need accountability.
For the record, the attorney for the whistleblower says that his client has not met with Adam Schiff. A member of the committee did talk to the whistleblower about procedural matters. But I spoke to the whistleblower's attorney just last night, Mark Zaid, and he told me that an offer has been made, and this is new, to Republicans to answer questions directly put to the whistleblower by Republicans, not going through the Democratic-controlled committee, but to answer them in writing, under oath, under penalty of perjury. What is your response to that offer?
Well, Margaret, I have never received that offer, and I'm the lead Republican in the House.
It was submitted to Devin Nunes, who is the ranking member on House Intelligence.
Well, when was it submitted to him? Because Devin had
Last
not
night.
told me about that prior to today. Well, Devin's in California, so let's see how they submitted. But first of all, we're talking about the removal of the President of the United States. Just as the Speaker of the House said in March, it has to be so compelling, so overwhelming and bipartisan. I think if the whistleblower should come forward in an open hearing and also bring the 6 people that he talks about inside his complaint that he said talked about other issues as well. Now,
So
we have the
so would
transcript.
you, as
we
leader-
have more knowledge than the whistleblower.
As
Yes.
leader, though, are you just completely turning down the opportunity to submit questions
No,
in writing?
I would
For
like-
you, that is not sufficient?
No. As an American, and that everybody should know and have accountability, you're talking about the removal of the presidency. We watched Adam Schiff lie to the American public that he did not know who the whistleblower was.
So
We
you
watched that
are
the
open to
whistleblower
it?
did
I'm
not
just
even check.
not clear on that. Are
No,
you even
what
to the first
let me
offer
be
of answering questions through writing, but then if Republicans submit their own questions directly, are you open to that? Because it would bypass Adam Schiff.
No, let me be very clear, Margaret. What I'm open to, when you're talking about the removal of the President of the United States, undoing democracy, undoing what the American public had voted for, I think that individual should come before the committee. He could come down to the basement, but he needs to answer the questions. We need an openness that people understand this. Remember what you're asking. You're going to change the course, the very fabric of democracy today, based upon someone wrote a written question of somebody that wasn't even on the phone call, that had hearsay, even though we all know what the transcript said?
Well, Mike Pence would
Are
become
we really
president.
this
It wouldn't
far
undo
that
the
we-
election results. If the president were removed, Mike
Margaret,
Pence
you're,
would become president.
Margaret, you're really saying today on national television that somebody who was not on the phone call, that you have the transcripts of the phone call, no big deal, just remove the President of the United States over a phone call?
No,
That is
I'm
the
just saying that
difference
it
of
wouldn't
what I
undo the
fundamentally
election. It
believe.
would put the vice president
Yes,
in
it
the
would undo-
commander-in-chief spot.
No, President
Okay.
Trump was duly elected as the President of the United States. And I think democracy is too precious to think that somebody who's not on a phone call, that cannot stand before the American public and answer the questions, that somehow we would change the course of that. And we're 1 year away from today. What are they so afraid of? What do they have to hide? Why wouldn't they release one item? If you are a jury member, you have to look at all the information. You don't just get the prosecutor to give you one line from an opening statement. You get cross-examinations. You get a due process. None of that is happening here today. We have never gone down this in America, and we should stand up and not allow this ever to happen.
All right, well, we have some questions you just laid out there to put to Majority Leader Steny Hoyer. Thank you for joining us there from New York.